Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. Got quite a job on my hands today because I've got two of these lovely Trachycarpus Fortunei and they're going here in the parterre. One's going here and there's one over here which is going over there, so there'll be a kind of symmetry on either side of the parterre, and that will bring a kind of a Mediterranean feel to this old English style of garden. And whilst I'm planting those in those holes, I'll share with you 15 fascinating facts about the history and the care and maintenance of these lovely palms. Now there are some challenges in this job. How am I going to single-handedly get that plant, which is very heavy, over this hedge without damaging it? Don't worry, I've got a cunning plan. I've got a plank over there, so I intend rigging up some kind of plank ramp, and I'll get the plant pot off the plant over there, and then I'll manhandle and roll it up that plank and then drop it into the hole. So the first thing I need to do is get the plant out of the way, put my board down and prepare the hole. So let's do that first. So the first fascinating fact about this Trachycarpus Fortunei is that it's also known as the Chusan Palm, or the Chinese Windmill Palm, or the Hemp Palm. So it's got four names already, and one of the names, which is Hemp Palm, comes from this stringy textured trunk here, and they can use that to make all kinds of things, which I'll speak about in a minute. Let's just get this completely out of the road. And one of the other challenges here is going to be digging the hole, removing the soil without contaminating the gravel, which is why I brought my trusty board in, and I'm using my old favourite, my long handled Irish spade, and I'm just going to dig a hole here a little bit bigger than the size of the root ball and with a slightly sloping edge. And if I put a slightly sloping edge in, it will make it easier to backfill. If I put vertical sides in and drop a vertical root ball, then I won't be able to get the soil in. So I always think it's a good idea, if you can, to put slight gradient around the edge of the hole. So let's reveal another one of this plant's fascinating facts. The name, Trachycarpus Fortunei. It's got three elements to it. Trachy, which means rough, which is the trunk, which has got a rough trunk. Carpus, which is fruit, which means it produces a fruit, and it does. In the springtime you'll see the fruit on the plant. It has like a big lobster claw type fruit. And the third element of the name is Fortunei, which is actually from the plantsman Robert Fortune, who originally brought the plant to the UK. So Trachycarpus Fortunei, rough trunk, produces fruit, Robert Fortune. So there's our hole dug. I've been using my long-handled Irish spade. It's a great tool, this. There's a link to this tool, an Amazon link in the description box, because it's got a nice pointy end. All the pressure from your foot goes to that pointy end and it cuts through the ground. And because it's got a nice long handle, you can reach away with your soil. It's also good as a scoop when I put some of that soil back in this hole. The hole is the same depth as a root ball. I kept going away and measuring it against the plant pot. I don't want to plant that plant any deeper than it was originally planted. Now, the lovely thing about where I live is everything about 18 inches below the ground is sand, which means it's very well drained. That plant does not like wet roots, so that would be very beneficial to that type of plant. And you can probably work that out by looking at the type of plant it is. It's one of those arid, hot country plants. So I've got a well drained hole. It's got gradient to its sides and it's got a flat bottom. The next thing is getting the plant out of the pot and into the hole. Here's another fascinating fact. Despite the fact that it's called the Chinese Windmill Palm, it's not actually known whether it originates from China or Japan. Could be either. And the next part of the problem before I get it into the hole is how to get it out of that pot. Well, most things in my garden are trial and error. I've never tried this before, but we'll give it a go. What I intend doing is leaning it onto this plant pot on its side. I haven't quite got enough room there, so I'll have to go back in this direction. And if I lean it on there so the weight of the plant is taken by this pot, and then lever it over, I've got a mallet in my hand and I can give it a few short, sharp knocks with the mallet, and hopefully, eventually, the pot will come away. It is starting to move gradually. Slowly but surely, that pot has relinquished its hold on the roots. Look at those roots. How root bound is that? They're going to get broken up a little bit. Now, I've got quite a stout coat on and some robust gloves, and you will need this because some of these things on this trunk are quite sharp. And that's part of the name, as I've already mentioned, so do be prepared for some sharp trunk spikes there. But I've got it out the pot now. I'm quite pleased with that. It's got a healthy rootstock, but those are so compacted. I'm going to go at them with a fork a little bit just to break them up before I put it in the hole. Back up it goes. The next problem will be putting the ramp in place and getting that over the hedge. But before we do that, let me give you another fascinating fact. Can you see that there's 3 more of these behind me over my right shoulder? This plant is known as Dioecious. What does Dioecious mean? Well, it means that some of them are male, some of them are female, and you have to have one of each in order for it to propagate. Now, how do you know if it's male or female? Well, you can tell the sex of the plant by the colour of its flowers. Some of them are yellow, and I think the yellow ones are male, and some of them are green. So I'm waiting for all 3 of these, or all 4 of them now, to flower, so that I'll know that if I've got a yellow and a green, there's a reasonable possibility that this might be able to be propagated. Anyway, let's put the ramp in place and then have a go at getting that in the hole. Dioecious, male, female plants. So I've just gone around that with a fork just to loosen up that very compacted root ball. I've already spoken about this trunk. Now, a couple of more things about the trunk. You might see these with 2 trunks and you might think, oh, it's a multi-stemmed one. No, this plant only ever has 1 trunk. And if you see 2 or 3 together coming out of the same spot, it's because 2 or 3 seeds have fallen next to each other and germinated together. And they can actually be separated off from each other. They're not attached at the roots. So it's a single trunked plant. And this grassy stuff, which I mentioned before, is one of the reasons it's called the hemp palm. That can actually be stripped off. And that trunk can be polished up and it looks like mahogany. I'm not going to do that today with these because I haven't got permission off the boss to do that. But one day I'd like to try that as an experiment and strip all this off and polish the trunk up. The next job is manhandling this along that ramp which I've constructed. So it's a plank. I'm going to try and almost like roll it like a beer barrel so the weight of it stays on the ground. I'm not going to try and lift it, it's far too heavy. And then when I get to the end of the plank, hopefully with a bit of careful manoeuvring, it'll drop into the bottom of that hole. Now I noticed when I took this out of the pot, there's lots of gravel underneath it. That's good. Drainage. This plant does not want wet roots. It likes drainage. And those roots are very thick. And you wonder whether that's because they're for storing water in. Let's try and get it in the hole again. Trial and error. Anything could happen. Success. Isn't that amazing what you can achieve with a little bit of brute force, ignorance and ingenuity. So these plants can grow up to 12 meters in height, especially when they're in the ground. It's some distance from the cottage, so I'm comfortable about that. I don't think it will reach 12 meters in my lifetime. It is slow growing and it's ideal for containers. And I've had one of these plants in a container for 15 years without repotting it. It was hard work getting it out of the pot because it looked like that. But they are very good for containers and patios. That's in situ. All I've got to do now is backfill that with some of the soil that I took out the hole. And because it's got quite a big sail at the top in the form of these leaves, I could either stake it, but what I'm going to do is going to put some big boulders on top as ballast just to hold it in place. Another point about these is they don't really like wind, and this is a particularly windy front garden. The wind comes from over there and through the gap, but it's tested, this place, because I've had 3 of these just behind me over my shoulder in a little border for 2 years. They've gone through 2 winters and they've done really well. Must be a hardy plant because the local councils put these in the middle of roundabouts, so it can't be that soft, can it? Right, let's get on with backfilling and I'll share some more interesting facts about this plant. So whilst I backfill the hole, let's just cover off some of the basics, and I hope you can see me. It started to rain, so I've had to put the camera under the porch. Some of the basics. It likes well drained soil. If you have it in a pot and you overwater it and it becomes waterlogged, it can get root rot, so be sparing if it's in a pot. It's hardy to -15 for mature plants. Younger plants down to -7. It can grow in any pH of soil, and as I've already mentioned, it doesn't like strong winds. Having said that, I've already misproven that rule because my existing 3 in my collection have already survived in strong winds. Now you might be wondering why I'm not enriching the soil that I'm putting back. I'm just not going to bother. It's such a robust plant. It's a tough old boot. I don't think it needs a lot of food. And if I overfeed it, it might not go looking for food, so I'm just replacing the soil that was already here. Now this soil has got a few bits of root matter in it because there was a box plant in this hole here. So those will rot down and feed it. So I'm not actually going to apply any extra feed to this soil. It can't do any worse than it did before when it was in a big pot. And I'm just going to carry on putting this soil in the hole loosely, and then I'm going to step away and just make sure it's vertical. I want it to be nice and upright before I gently heel it in, so I'm just going to step over there and have a look from a distance. And that is spot on and nicely centred in this square in the parterre. Now this hairy stuff on the trunk has been used as a material for making rope and sacks, and also the birds love it. You'll see them in the springtime taking this away and making nests with it. That's another benefit of leaving it on the trunk. I mentioned the wind before. If you're at all concerned about the amount of wind passing through your Chusan Palm or Chinese Windmill palm or Trachycarpus, you can wrap the top in a fleece if you want to. I've never done that and it's never suffered. Now as I heeled that back in quite firmly, I created a kind of a ring donut indentation in the soil around it, and I'm now going to give it a really good soaking. When I looked at those roots in that pot that it came out of, they were virtually dry as a bone, so this is probably the first time those roots have seen any water in months. So I'm going to give it the soaking of its life, and this is probably going to be the last time I water it. Certainly this year, we're getting into autumn. There will be some warmth in the ground below this pot, so below this plant, So the roots should be stimulated by this water and some of that warmth to continue growing. The top will probably stop growing over the winter, and then next year it should settle in. Now there's a saying about plants like this: year one they sulk or sleep, year 2 they creep, and year 3 they leap. So in about 3 years time I'm expecting this to shoot up into the sky. The next thing I'm going to do here, after I've watered it, is I'm going to put a little top dress of compost on, just on the top, and I'm going to put some weed fabric on top. Then I'm going to cover it with this gravel and put boulders on top of that, which, as I've already mentioned, will give it some ballast and secure it against the wind. I'm not going to stake it. So once I've done that and I've planted the second one, I'll give you some video footage of the overall effect when they're both in the ground. I'm not going to film me doing the second one. I've shared all the 15 facts. You've seen me do one. I'll do the second one on my own. I'll see you in about 10 seconds with some footage of the finished job.